I guess moving back slightly towards the technology side of things, because you've mentioned when it comes to sleep, you need to prepare yourself whilst you're awake. So I was gonna go into, I guess, morning routines. That's something that I'm very stringent and place in my day. I have a morning routine, but it does involve technology. And
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you, like, what is your morning routine? And if I was to run down mine, could you see ways in to, I guess, improve it without the use of technology?
Um, well, the first thing you do, I don't know if you can see this, but it depends what you mean by technology.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Can you see this little
Yeah.
thing I got?
Yeah,
Yeah, we can.
yeah, yeah. What is
That's
that?
called
not
a human
working.
charger. Now, the process of waking in the morning, because we haven't moved away from the fact that we all slept outside, the brain and bodily functions, and these two hormones, serotonin and melatonin, which is triggered by light. So when the sun hits the horizon, it produces daylight, and inside of that daylight is very different light spectrums. But also inside of there is the blue energy light, the blue light. And so we start to produce serotonin, which unsuppresses all our bodily functions. So we start to become active and be able to go out and enjoy our day and do what we need to do. It peaks around midday and then starts to diminish. As it starts to diminish and the blue light disappears, then we start to produce melatonin. And melatonin suppresses all bodily functions and takes us towards a point of being able to go to sleep. And that's what's going on every day. So the start of your day, it is critical to understand where you live on the planet, because some countries have daylight saving time, which will hit us next month, where we shift the clocks. It's
Go
not
backwards.
done for a human performance factor. It was done for bad reasons back in the 40s. And that shifts our exposure to light. So we shift throughout any year between 16 plus hours of daylight in spring and summer to then only 8 hours of daylight in the winter months starting the end of October. And that means it has a dramatic effect on the production of these two hormones and when. So the answer to your question is that I'm a morning chronotype.
Mm-hmm.
I produce serotonin very, very easily at the early part of the day. So I'm active and functional. But I only ever shut my curtains when I know that the sunrise will be earlier than 5 a.m. in the morning. Because if it's earlier than 5 a.m., then I know that the sun coming into my bedroom will affect the time when I will wake naturally. So I only use blackout curtains, I only use blinds or whatever to protect myself when the sun is rising early, which is totally generated by the daylight saving time shift.
Mm-hmm.
So if I use blackout curtains to protect myself from the early sunrise, because I want to generate that natural stuff, is then I would have a lamp in my bedroom called a dawn wake simulator. Now, all that does is recreate the level of light that is outside, but inside my bedroom to create the same thing. And the difference, that is the most fundamental thing, whether you're a morning type or evening type. It's fundamental to starting your day because it creates the hormone that makes you functional. So technology in that particular area can be really beneficial. And the bit about it is you can just get you can download, it's only progressed since I heard so many people saying, shut your tech down, blue light is dangerous for you and all this sort of stuff. You can get a little free app on the App Store. It's called a Lux Light Meter. I haven't got my phone with me at the moment, guys, because I'm talking to you, but you can just download it onto your phone. It just uses the camera on your device, and it just measures light around you. And when we were outside, there could be anything up to 100,000 lux. And we would be wandering around, dropping our heads on the trees, buildings, and everything. So the average outside could be 10,000, 20,000 lux. internally, in our homes, our studios, our environments, our bathrooms, offices, trains, planes, you name it, the level of light we're exposed to is much, much lower than that. And by using the light meter, you can get a balance of just every day what level of light you're exposed to, which means you can use things like this little human charger, a very non-intrusive thing, or you can get a little lamp by your desk, something. And these things produce 10,000 lux, which sort of, every 90 minutes, every now and again, you can just give yourself a hit of this light to just keep those hormones balanced. The only reason I mention it to you about the start of your day is, if you're swiping the phone off, there's your alarm, and you start engaging with notifications and stuff like that. I don't need to tell you guys that, in elite sport or the celebrity world, they can map your day out if you're not careful. And you want to be very careful how you interact with notifications and tech at the start of your day. You want a little bit of a gap. So what I always suggest to people is that they get rid of the waste. We get up to the toilet, but making sure that they've got this level of light, 10,000 lux, whether it's by the side of their bed, in the kitchen while they're making breakfast, whatever it is, or even traveling to work, getting a little hit, just to make sure that you're hydrating, you're fueling up with good stuff, and bowels are open to get rid of the waste. So if you can, some mental challenges, in the summer it's a little bit easier because it's nice and light outside and we can get about. It's just making sure that the first 90 minutes of your day is about creating the right hormone, unsuppressing all bodily functions, making sure that those have been tested a little bit, making sure that you've got some good stuff in there to build on, and waste has been exposed. Mm-hmm. Then, sounds a bit crazy, but it's then you should be interacting with the world. So I don't see it as a point in time where you're not doing anything, but I certainly make sure that my consistent wake time is 6:30. That means I'm awake at 5 to 6, 6:15, 6:10, whatever. Mm-hmm. I certainly don't want to be a sports sleep coach until 8 o'clock. That's 90 minutes after my 6:30 start. That means I feel as though I've done everything possible to become fully awake and ready for the world. But I certainly try not to at least have a 20-minute, 30-minute period where at least I might be hydrating, getting breakfast, which is easy for me, before I start interacting with those notifications that I still can't seem to block. Because everybody gets through it, don't they? Whether it's funny video from our mate or Kim Kardashian's thumbs got bigger, whatever it is, or, Brexit, for God's sake, it's sort of, I just try and make sure that in my first 90 minutes of the day, the majority is about me as a human being and a brain, getting ready for the world and doing things that are perfectly natural and making sure those things are in place so that the impact, whether it's positive or negative, that's going to come on to me is I deal with it in the best way I can and not be reactive, be proactive.
Nick, for me, so I'm a big football fan. Just to go back to when you were working with United, with England, when you first spoke to Sir Alex, because obviously Sir Alex, from what I gather, always had the last word in terms of with his players. How did the players take to your revolutionary ideas when you introduced the kind of sleep pods and so on? Did some players kind of joke on the side about it? Did others, were they really, really embracive of it? You said Ryan Giggs was really interested, for instance. How were other players? Were some like kind of anti-recovery spirit, for lack of a better term? How hard was it to kind of embed your new revolutionary sleep techniques into, say, the sporting world?
Well, you're making reference to a point in time, where there was a group of players. Like I say, most of them were sort of UK, British, whatever, grown. They were under so that their distractions were quite limited. It was about football, it was about the club, it was about the manager, it was about trying to be successful, and they listened to everything that he would say.
Mm-hmm.
So when he decided to introduce double-up pre-season training, which back then was just ridiculous. So they're not only training in the morning, they're training in the afternoon. And when I was asked, what could we do in between training sessions, rather than just letting the guys hanging around on the sofa playing games and whatever, I sort of said, well, we could take advantage of that midday period and try to encourage them to actually take a sleep. Well, you can imagine that conversation back then. But, Alex just said, let's do it. The physio at the time, a guy called Rob Swire, just felt that makes some sense. So how do we do it? So we just created a room, cleared a space out in Carrington, which is the training centre, and we put some lounging products that tried to make them a bit more happy, and we just told them how to do it. But we didn't really know what we were doing, guys. We just, it's just trying to put things in place. But what happened very, very quickly is that if they were asked to do something, they would do it.
Okay.
It wasn't a challenge. It wasn't a debate. It wasn't an argument. It was just they were trying to be the best footballers in one of the biggest clubs with one of the most respected managers, and they would just do it. So some of them would just lie there and go, am I supposed to be asleep now? Just keep doing it. But what happened in the background is that what they started to notice was this player A, they've only got data collection for morning training. Now they had data collection for afternoon training.
Mm-hmm.
And they could see that there was little differences.
Okay.
So that started to create an interest in why are those little differences there? And that's why we came on to things like chronotyping. Like there's a person who's got that genetic twist. So just maybe you're always looking at their data because you only look at their data in the morning. But that person has got a nighttime chronotype. So in the afternoon, their data changes because of that. Because they're more familiar with that afternoon environment. They come to life in that. So they might run quicker or this. So it's kind of like we were all in a bit of an experiment, trying this, trying that. But I think, there are certain clubs, certain organisations in today's world that still have the same perspective, that they will try things, they will endeavour to pursue areas, they want things that are non-intrusive. But way back then, it was simply, it's the class of 92. In principle, they weren't really famous, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
It was only when they won the treble and the media came lobbing down on top of them because they won the treble in such a crazy manner against Bayern Munich in second. Suddenly the press came all over them and these guys became, extremely famous and influential. But at the time, we had a phone, but we couldn't do much with it.
A phone was a phone back then.
We had a phone, it was a phone. We didn't even know what to do with it, really. It sounds quite weird to be talking about, but I think there are lots of, Cristiano Ronaldo, Manchester City, Liverpool, certain groups around the country where what we're trying to do is to try and be less intrusive on us all, to be trying to focus on the key things that make a difference, redefine our approach, and not just get so caught up in a world that constantly asks you to be engaged with. And, so it was a very unique set of circumstances around then.
Mm-hmm.
But the people who are making a difference today are not too dissimilar. They're just, it's not like looking back, it's looking forward and going, I think you pointed out before, the people who take their recovery, put their recovery as important as everything else they do, they're the ones that are going to survive and be successful and teach us all how to do it. And the more the merrier.
Definitely. Pushing on slightly, I was just going to
ask me about Aston Villa.
Right, we're rather not. We're rather not, mate. On page 46, you mentioned scientists believe one of the key reasons we sleep is to process our experiences into memories and consolidate our learnt skills. I just wanted to ask, do you think thinking about your problems before sleep is a positive or negative thing, and explain why?
I think the bit I'd just be rather cautious about is actually thinking about all the shit in your life just before you're about to go to sleep.
It's a bit heavy.
What you want to do is this whole R90 technique and the balance about how you start your day, little distracted breaks every 90 minutes, grabbing your ability to take this controlled recovery period, as we call it, this nap, this period of vacant mind space, midday, early evening, whatever, is that all builds to putting things in context. So what we should be doing every day, that's why I get called a wake coach rather than a sleep coach, is when you start your day, is how you can just keep a nice rhythm and balance to the information you're receiving, what you're doing. So I would think that putting in context the positive and negative things about your particular life at that particular point, or whatever those manifest themselves to be, is a really good place, so that while you are asleep, because you're out of control, your brain is controlled now, it wants to shut you down almost into a semi-paralyzed state where you're in your most vulnerable position, and it will be doing all sorts of stuff while you're in that. And that is also about processing information and put it in context and put it in the right places and file downloading and all that sort of stuff. But it's something you should be doing from the point of wake, just helping your brain through this whole process. So rather than, if I got your question right, I don't want people sitting, in bed before they go to sleep, sort of rolling through the stuff in their life. I think it's just a nice balance throughout the day that enables you to put things in context a little bit and start your day in the right way, and just help your brain to do these things, because it will do it. There's absolutely no argument that if you're able to deal with the negative things and the positive things throughout your day, then you're more likely to build a better mental well-being space while you're asleep. So when you start the next day, it may have less impact on you.
Cool. Probably very similar to not going to the doctor, obviously, or by not going to the doctor, obviously you won't know if you have any problems or anything along those lines. But, or I guess my question really is, what are the consequences of not sleeping well? I mean, there are a few examples in your book where I think it's the rugby player, and I want to pronounce his name correctly, Alex Corbusiera. Where he took a year out of rugby, obviously due to fatigue and stuff like that. And me personally, I work at like a 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off kind of routine, and I more often than not, and more so now, can really see where I'm flagging or the differences between when I'm working and when I'm not working. And just wanted to know if what other signs are recognizable? I mean, I know sometimes my concentration levels are quite poor.
I think we're getting better at this, like you were saying, to talk about stuff, to engage and look for help and assistance. That's getting a lot better. and also be able to identify these things when you know that your concentration levels have dropped, right? Whereas before, it wouldn't even crop up in your head. You just keep cracking on, don't you?
Yeah.
So I think the great thing about, the space we're in right now is things like that. Is you can actually feel, because it's all about concentration, decision-making, relationship, anger management, alertness, awareness. There are things like cardiovascular performance, stamina. There are, bodily functions, all sorts of things going on, which creates almost a shadow of who you should be.
Mm-hmm.
So, you'll have heard of the word sort of sleep deprivation. It's not something that builds up and you can catch up on it or put it right in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
It means that every day you are not recovering at the level that you should be. So as you roll through the different schedules, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, I've been doing some work recently with a medical university in Tennessee, Knoxville, with the medical graduate students who do 120 hours a week and all that sort of stuff. Been working with a police constabulary, 5,000 workforce there with all the demands and all the sorts of things that go on around there. So you do, what it basically means is that you slowly but surely become a shadow of your former self, and you make decisions, you make choices, you create relationships with things, and you always think that you're in the right place, but like you just pointed out, if you're now starting to identify that you can identify the way you feel, and so it's probably not a good time to be making serious decisions. So I think that's where we all need to try and get, is not just to keep rolling through every 24 hours, keep pushing and pushing and pushing, because the decisions we make will have an enormous impact on us, but we won't necessarily notice it as much as we should. And your point is really great that you are noticing it. And to be able to go, look, this is what's been happening recently, or this is the roads I'm on, this is the schedule I'm on. So at this moment in time, making any serious decisions about anything is not a good time. I'll do this tomorrow, or I'll do it later, or I'll do it after a CRP, right? So you sort of know that your concentration levels are dropping. So you CRP it on the zebra sofa, take 20 minutes out, come out of it, and go, now I'm in a better place to carry on with that thing. So, but I think I have met so many people, and it's always this tip of the iceberg stuff, We only hear about the people who actually get really involved, but I know for a fact that there are people that suddenly just wake up in the morning and they can't carry on. It sort of might be the extreme, but suddenly it just hits you like a brick wall, and you don't really know how you got to that particular position. But the wonderful thing is if you can start noticing that concentration levels are dipping at certain points, your relationship with all your mates, how you react to stuff, how you engage with stuff, whether you're picking up a high fiber salad, or you're picking up a burger, or you're drinking too many glasses of beer, or you're thinking that you need some sleeping tablets, or you think you're doing this or doing that. All of those little things mean that ultimately, and this is what all the negative side about the space we're in at the moment, is that people of all sorts of generations, they just get into a particular point and call it burnout, call it whatever. They just simply can't operate. They just become completely intimidated by everything and just simply can't get out of bed. They just can't work. And, it's not a sad thing. We can put this right. It's a piece of cake. You know, we're all talking about it now, so it's easy. My book's stupidly simple. You know, let's not make it such a big problem. But in the last 12 months, I've talked to .com guys who've, you know, they're billionaires at 22. Whether it's pop stars, celebrities, rappers, whatever, they make a shitload of money. And they're 22 years of age, 23, and then they just shut down. Just can't cope. Athletes do it, all sorts of, you know, CEOs of big companies. I was with one last week. She just, massive company, got all the zeros behind her salary and everything else, totally dynamic, totally driven, smashing it beyond belief, triathlon, all this sort of stuff going on. And she just simply woke up one day and that was it.
Wow.
Shut down. You know, so I think it is so important, but, you know, we just want to keep it on a nice level, you know, not to, you know, the fact that we're all talking about it now and the fact that we're all going to redefine this process, you know. It's not just about my flipping book or anybody else's book or anybody else saying it. It's collectively we get together and go, wow, let's try and help us all by you know, redefining the way we recover. And I probably, after this podcast, will probably shoot on down to the Houses of Parliament and throw my books all over it. Just to help with some good decision making right now.
It's not a bad shout.
Maybe take this zebra sofa with you.
Yeah, take a zebra sofa, sit there and go, when was the last time you went to sleep?